Welcome in, everybody, to Extreme Radio, presented by GracePointe Healthcare. GracePointeHealthcare.com. Request your appointment online. Mention your with 8-Man Extreme. You get $20 off your new patient office visit fee. GracePointe Healthcare, modern medicine the old-fashioned way. The show is also sponsored by Dr. Sterling Foster for all your digestive issues and chiropractic needs. Go to drsterlingfoster.com. We got a new sponsor today, James.
We have Jets Pizza.
Of Springfield, Clarksville, and
right.
Fort
I
Campbell.
was about to say that.
Making sure you had the list.
Yeah, and even if you're not in those locations, like
Let's get Jets.
Franklin, it's a great why are you interrupting me today? It's a great time to say, let's get Jets.
Exactly. It's great time. We'll probably have it on the show in a few weeks' time.
I was so hyped to say that motto, that catchphrase.
Yeah, right when we got them sealed, you were the one who right when we got into the show, right when they decided to sponsor, you were like, I get to say it. I get to say this week.
I was so excited. Well, and the way I was like, dude, the big guy has to say it. The big guy has to say, let's get pizza.
I can't tell if that's metaphorical, as in the head honcho of the organization, or
like legitimate. Like I won't say that. I have, yeah.
Spencer Thompson, James Shannon, another show.
I'm so big with how hot it is outside. I sweat like a professional gambler in church. In a Southern Baptist independent.
Can we actually say that on air? Is that okay to say on air?
Gambler?
Is that okay to say on air? I think that's fine to say. So Spencer Thompson, James Shannon. We are 19 days out from the season officially starting. Of course, we're 12 days out.
Away from the season starting.
12 days out from the Jamboree. That's not the official kickoff of the season.
Okay, it's the unofficial.
Yeah, the unofficial kickoff is at 12 days. We're 19 days away from the first game.
It's like binge watching football, like to start the season.
Yeah.
It's like if a new show comes on Netflix, you like binge watch all the seasons before that.
What's that new show that you were talking about the show? Oh yeah, you didn't
just
realize
you
didn't realize the new season came out.
I was like, now I gotta watch that somewhere in my schedule.
So sad news, everybody. Hate to start out the show with sad news, but
Isaiah has died.
No,
I'm just kidding.
No, he's dead to us.
Here.
Yeah, Isaiah has stepped aside for educational reasons. He's going to be pursuing more of his educational path this year, which we wish him all the best going forward and such. I think he may be working behind the scenes a little bit. Yeah, he'll still do some things, but yeah, we're still waiting on the highlights from last year, though.
Yeah,
waiting on the playoff highlights, waiting on
website,
waiting on all that good stuff.
In studio.
Oh, yes.
Well, we're waiting on we're potentially another guest, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. But
if it show up or not.
But in studio right now, we have the man, the myth, the legend, the stud. You gotta put your mic down.
You got to put your mic down if you want to be heard, man.
Lancaster Christian Academy, former Laverne High School running back, baseball player, whatever you want to call him. Matt Bowden.
You still say my name wrong.
It's Bowden. It's Bowden.
Whatever.
We were corrected by that at the consolation game.
From me.
He
asked me at the end of the game.
He didn't even DM us.
Well, no, it was
He could have DM'd us and been like, "Hey, it's spelled like arrow done."
I did DM y'all because y'all spelled it wrong the first time.
No, we went by
pronunciation.
Oh well.
Okay,
Anyway,
so now we didn't pronounce it right, and now I'm being told for the first time we didn't spell it right. That's
the first
Like the first time. Now it's spelled right.
Because we were corrected. We had a parent just shouted at us at the consolation game. It's Bowden. It's Bowden. Like nobody said anything throughout the season at all. Nobody. Then finally got corrected at the end.
That's cool.
Hey man, every time y'all would pronounce it wrong when y'all came to one of our games, I just got mad, and ran the ball harder.
Tell us what's going on, man.
Yeah, because on the sidelines he was sitting there watching their games, listening to the broadcast, and he's like, "You said my name wrong, Coach. Put me in."
Right.
No, but he's in here for a very special reason, and you'll find out about the reason in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Because Extreme Talk will return.
Well, I guess they found it out already.
At some point.
Yeah, they found it out already.
But starting off.
You kind of gave it away, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is
probably
returning.
Start up probably second week of August, somewhere in there.
Yeah, something along those lines. But
We'll do something like
welcome to the show, man. We were gonna have. There was another guest we were planning on having on. He hasn't quite made it yet. Not sure if he'll be.
We'll see if he comes.
Not sure if he'll be in, but schedules conflict, of course.
Yeah.
That's what it comes
Hot
down
off
to.
a signing with KCU.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Mr.
getting
Bowden.
his pictures, but it's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, here, I'll send it to you right now.
Yeah, he's
Well,
posted
I
on
can
his
just screenshot
Instagram
your
and not sent.
Instagram now.
Mhm.
Oh man, I'll just send you all my signing photos. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
send them all.
Put
So,
something up at some
so
point.
today's show we were going to have a guest in to
Well,
get
we
good
still
insight in
might.
the league. We might still if he's in transit right now, but at least for the time being, let's get right into what we decided was our backup plan for the
We're
show.
gonna do season predictions,
Mhm.
and it is controversial,
Plus
course.
Matthew Bowden.
but
Yeah, Matt Bowden will give his
Yeah.
takes on it.
but
Good
I've been thinking about something all week.
Mm-hmm.
It is very controversial.
Mm-hmm.
I have been known to be a controversial person. That might be hard.
He
to
has a
believe.
smirk on his face while he's saying this, so
I've
it's going to
been
be
known-
something
I've
not
been known
commercial.
To be a controversial person. It is controversial. It's very controversial. Just wait, okay? Let me build up. I've been known to be a very controversial person. I know it's hard to believe. I've been told I've not been positive enough. I believe this is a positive.
What's the
topic.
day count out of how many days without a James Shannon controversy?
Without it,
Yeah.
something like
I
that.
don't know him texting me.
Okay, so I have a belief, and I will stand by that belief. Actually, there's another belief I got to talk about too, but there's a belief I have to stand by this belief, and it is a hot dog is a sandwich.
I knew it. I knew it was gonna be something that he was
It is- I am going on the
You were
record.
making the
I don't care
unnecessary
about-
build
I
up.
don't care about flat Earth. I don't care about moonlight.
I
don't care
agree
about
with
any
you.
of that.
It's two
A
buns
hot
and
dog
meat,
is a sandwich. Yeah, with cheese and toppings and it's a sandwich.
etc.
Okay.
Bam. I had to get that out there. I had to get that out there. If we lose sponsors over it, whatever. But I had to get that out there.
I think we should be talking about if pizza is a sandwich, maybe.
It's not. It's not. But
Is pizza a flatbread by
anyways,
definition?
He doesn't like spinach pizza.
Oh yeah, yeah. He doesn't like
it's almost
spinach
as bad
pizza.
as pineapple.
Oh, I don't like pineapple
Now,
pizza.
to be fair, my sisters love pineapple on their pizza, but I don't. so it's preferred for everyone. You can put whatever toppings. It's the same people who have anchovies on their pizza. It's like, why? It's the question of why. It's like, that's great. You enjoy it on your pizza. You have it your way. Let's not make a big deal out of it to where we hate those people who have pineapple on their pizza, right? Let's just not hate those people.
Okay.
All right, so
So
season predictions. So we're about 12 days away from the Jamboree, and obviously James could change his record predictions going into that.
no.
You're sticking pre-Jamboree,
I am
right?
sticking-
That's right. You did
I
that
did
last
it
year.
last year, and let me say this.
He made
okay?
2 changes throughout
Let
the
me-
season.
Let me say
2.
this. Let me say this. Okay, there are people who also do predictions, and there are people who do predictions week by week, and they want to compare them to mine, which is cool. I'll go in a contest with anybody.
Mhm.
But you have to keep in mind, these are 12 days before the Jamboree even happens.
Mhm.
So I'm making these predictions for games that are going to happen in 4 months. You're calling the games 4 days before they happen. So let's just keep that in mind, okay? When you think you win the prediction game, I'm calling it now. And may I bring up my record from last year?
Weren't you off with each team? You
I'm
were
gonna
off
pull
by
it up.
maybe 2-3
Especially
games.
LCA.
I'm gonna
Oh,
he
yeah.
was way off.
Hey,
on
I mean,
LCA.
No, it wasn't.
Hey,
Hold up,
hey,
hold
to
up.
be fair, he was way off at 2017 with Southaven. They ended up winning the
Yeah, I was
winning the
I was
championship.
pretty off on that.
They only lost that
Hang
one
hang
game to
Okay,
Christian
here we
Community.
go, okay? So, snap. Hang on. Where's it? Oh, no, that ain't it. That ain't it, Chief. Hang on.
Someone needs to make sure he has his notes gathered before the show instead
I
of
have
having
my
to
notes, but I have to find so many notes.
Yeah.
Okay.
organization.
Here it is. So, I predicted that Christian Community would go 7-2.
Mhm.
They went 9-0. 2 games off.
Which 2 games did you say they were going to lose?
I don't even remember.
Yeah, you're not
I'm
even going to look in those notes. Okay.
The Heat, I said they would go 8-2. They went 5-5.
Mhm.
Bowling Green, I said 4-5. They went 6-3.
Okay.
Okay. Lighthouse, I said they would go 2-7. Technically, they went 5-3.
Mhm.
If you want to count it, whatever. Sacred Heart, I said 4-4. I said 2-6. They went 4-4.
Mhm.
Okay, so far, other than the Heat, we are 2 games off. 2 games out of 8 to 10 games. So within 20%. Okay.
Yep.
South Haven, I said they would go 6-1. They went 0-7. So
That's
that
2
was-
years in a row you've been really off with your South Haven predictions,
You know
man. I think
what? It
yeah,
is what
you
it
just need to be
is.
more positive.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, so I did better in the South, though. Okay, so I predicted. Well, okay, I say that, and right off the bat, I said Webb would go 2-6. They went 7-0 in the regular season. Lancaster. Now this is correct. Okay,
Mhm.
I said Lancaster would go 7-1 in the regular season. Matt, what did they go in the regular season? 7-1.
All right.
It's just
Okay.
weren't you off with the games that you predicted on those?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't think they would lose to Webb. I said they would lose to.
Riverside?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Riverside.
either Riverside or the Heat. One
Nope,
of those
it
two.
You
wasn't
have
the
so
Heat.
much faith in the
One of
Heat,
those two.
man.
I know.
Okay, so Riverside, I said they would go 4-5. They went 3-6, so it was
Mhm.
a game off. FCA, I said they would go 2-7. They went 3-6, a game. Swanee, I said they would go 3-5. They went 2-6, a game. Classical, I said 1-7. They went 0-8, one game. So 1 or 2 games for 10 out of 12 teams in the league.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll take it.
It's not too bad. You've just been wrong about South Haven 2 years
I
in a
have
row,
been
though.
wrong about South Haven.
Yeah, you going to be more positive this year and give them a better prediction,
I
or
gave him a better prediction last year.
no?
I did
No,
it
no, no.
wrong.
The
6-1.
question is, are you going to give them a better prediction this year?
Well,
That's what people
we're
are
about
looking.
to find out.
Yeah.
aren't we?
Yep.
Okay.
So helmet schedule is going to come out in the coming weeks. We got all that
Working on
information submitted over to guy who makes those. That is it.
Shout out to 615
Yep.
Sports, Mr. John Williams.
Yeah, John Williams does a great job with it every year. So getting us another schedule coming in the next weeks. I think we're going to get that the week of
We'll see.
August 9th, something like that.
You never rush the artist.
Oh yeah,
You let him do his work.
yeah. So
You
I
just
would say.
update him. You just update him when there's 5 game changes in a month.
I would say follow on your helmet schedules as I usually do, but we don't have those readily available. So here we go. We'll start off
and
with
the full schedule has not been posted except we
right.
have it.
We'll start out top to bottom as it usually is on the helmet schedules with acronym alphabetical order from the north
So
down to
am
the
I
south
giving
down.
Actual like game by game, or am I giving like overall? You want game by game
How long do you think? How long do you want to stretch out the show for?
Jeez.
the whole time? So let's. Go
All right,
game.
let's go game by
All right.
game. All right,
All right.
start out with Bowling Green Christian
You can chip
Academy
in.
Warriors,
All right,
the
You can chip in.
the defending champions of the defunct MTAC Bowl, the Bowling Green Christian Academy Warriors. What do you got for
High
them?
6 wins last year.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so obviously, and this is based off players that they've lost from last year, and the players that are coming back, and how I think they'll do. So this is what it's based off of. So obviously, Bowling Green lost John Stock,
Mhm.
one of the best players in the conference last year. One of, I'm not gonna say the best, but one of Riley Davis and Tanner Brown, quarterback.
Mhm.
They also lost Ben Thomas on the line, longtime lineman. So against Classical, I've got a loss. They kick off the season with Classical. Against Christian Community, a loss as well. I think they beat Lighthouse Christian, lose to Franklin Christian. I think they lose to Lancaster, as well as South Haven and the Tennessee Heat. I think they beat Sacred Heart. And then I think that they will lose to the Freedom Cowboys, who
2
they
and
are
7.
hosting at the end of the year.
So
Let
2
me
and 7.
Let me double check. 2 and 7.
Yeah, because your only wins for them
Well, I
are,
wrote down like the records, and I went back and picked game by game.
so your only wins for that are Sacred Heart and Lighthouse.
Is it 2
So
and
2
Do
and
they
7.
have 9 games? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
2 and 7 for him. What do you think, Matt? You think he's right with 2 and 7 on the Warriors?
Yeah. 3-6. I'll go 3-6.
Who do you think their other win is other than Lighthouse Sacred Heart? Who do you
Who
think
was
they
the
beat?
first game?
FCS Classical.
Maybe that one.
think Classical?
I think Classical. Their first game, they should win.
Yeah.
I think.
Might be possible.
It's at Classical though, and they have, and I'm going to go on record. They have the best player in the league this season. Classical does.
Who's the best player?
Josh Austin.
That's a hot take right there.
He is the number 1 player in the league this year. I will not back down from that.
It's a hot take.
Okay.
All right, next.
Oh, he's 1A. 1B is Gage Holman from Bowling Green, so I'm excited for this first game to see them.
Oh, yeah, for the first game for that.
I
it's
don't
gonna be
pick scores because that's ridiculous to pick.
That'll
But
be-
I'm
yeah.
excited to see Holman and
That'll be a
Austin
good game to see how
one-on-one.
they face off.
Played each other in the All-Star game, played each other in the All-American game.
Hmm.
I think it'll be good.
Next, the defending MTAC champions and have gone to the NHSA championship game 2 years in a row, looking to get back there for a third time. The Christian Community Colts.
Which will be back in Panama City.
They've got 11 seniors this year. I think it's like 11 or
10
12.
or 11,
yeah,
somewhere in
around that. A lot coming back, and of course.
Yeah, it depends on who comes
now,
back.
for those who didn't know, Coach Daniel Meek, he is no longer a Christian Community.
We mentioned that on the first show.
We did. And for those who didn't listen to the first show,
go
back
and listen to it.
what
are you doing with your life?
Exactly.
Everybody.
If
everybody.
you're actually having a life.
No, but hear me out, okay? Everybody has 2 30-minute sections during your week. I don't care who you are. 2 30-minute sections, okay? Listen to one half of the show. Let's say you have a 30-minute drive to work. Listen to half the show on the way to work.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to the other half on the way home.
Yep.
Bam.
But yes, Daniel Meek is no longer there. They still have on staff Tommy Thornton, defensive coordinator. Still have Jordan Flanders.
Because would you rather hear talk about Vanderbilt baseball or football, or would you rather hear talk about
the Women's World Cup?
Who cares? Who cares? Anyways.
So the defending MTAC champion Christian Community Colts looking to go for a third straight undefeated regular season record. And James,
that ain't happening, Chief.
You don't think it's happening this year with 10, 11 seniors? What do you got?
There we go. Well, so they don't actually play, as of right now that we know, they don't play on the opening weekend of the season, whatever. So August 16th, they're at Bowling Green Christian. Obviously, it's a win. I mentioned that earlier. At Lancaster Christian, I think Lancaster pulls off the win.
Ooh.
At versus Tennessee Heat, they're going to pick up the win.
You're not saying that Lancaster win just because Matt's in studio, right?
No, because I made these like earlier this week before I even know Matt was coming. So
as far as we know,
win against the Tennessee Heat, win against Sacred Heart. Here's the hot take.
So that's 3-1 at the moment.
3-1. Here's the hot take. Okay, I think South Haven goes into White House and gets the dub.
Woo!
I'm calling it.
Woo!
Okay?
That is a hot take, fresh from the oven.
Okay.
Woo!
So, at Franklin Classical, they pick up a win. They host Ezel Harding, and I think the newcomers get the win. I think that's a loss.
Oh, 4-3.
They go down to Alabama, take on the Freedom Cowboys. I think they pick up the win. And they go to Lighthouse Christian to wrap up the season on rivalry week, and they pick up the win.
6-3.
Yep.
That's what you got, man.
Yep.
What do you? I heard you kind of getting upset there at that hot
you
take
didn't even
with
play
the
South Haven.
I know, but you just gotta give them respect. You know what I'm saying? I like the how you saying they're gonna win, but I don't know.
You don't think that?
Say 7
You think you're gonna say 7-2?
It is 6-3.
Yeah.
It is 6-3.
Yeah.
For some reason, I had 7-3 on there. Okay.
Lighthouse Christian School. They have lost. They lost Michael Bond, one of their key weapons in the backfield, or just key weapons everywhere on the field for them. And I believe they still have Ricky McDowell.
No, they don't.
Ricky McDowell's graduated. So we don't know much about what Lighthouse is going to offer this season. But as far as we know, they're eligible for the playoffs this year. As far as we know.
Brand new coach, Brian Hollis.
Yep, Brian Hollis at the helm. And what do you got for Lighthouse? They don't play until August 16th either.
Yeah, they take the first week off. Let's see.
They got
Lighthouse.
They got a rematch for August 16th. They got a rematch from a game we called last year.
There's a little bit of a delay, and it's because I'm double checking something. Because there's one
Again,
of these I did.
the amount of organization.
Okay,
he's
I
having
got
a
it.
long
I got it.
moment.
Controlled
I got it.
chaos.
Okay, so Lighthouse kick off the season with Lancaster. Battle of Rutherford County.
Dub.
Well, no, because Antioch and Davidson, anyways.
Dub.
Loss to Lancaster, lost to Bowling Green, lost to South Haven, lost to the Heat. I think they beat Sacred Heart, lost to Ezel Harding, lost to Swanee, lost to Christian Community.
So 1-7.
Yep, I think it's going to be a struggle year for them.
Rebuilding year, maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree.
You agree?
And that's
completely
nothing. And that's nothing against Lighthouse.
So who'd you
love
say they're going to
Lighthouse.
get their 1 W against?
Sacred Heart.
Sacred Heart. Yeah.
I can see that.
Speaking of which, we're almost up to them, but we've got the other team that starts up in the S, South Haven Christian School.
Well, obviously, so I mentioned the hot take for South Haven. I think they kick off the season actually on the Saturday of opening weekend, hosting Franklin Christian. I think they pick up the win.
Get revenge for last year on that game that they picked up.
Versus Sacred Heart, pick up the win. Lighthouse, they win. They're playing Tennessee School for the Deaf.
On
Pretty
Thursday,
cool game.
first time they're facing each other.
Yeah, that's going to be a win, obviously, in White House against Christian Community, pick up the win.
You mean
Bowling,
spring? Oh, sorry. I thought you were still talking about Tennessee School. So 5-0.
That's my neck of the woods.
So 5-0. You say they
Okay.
get Christian Community with that upset.
Beat Bowling Green.
6-0.
Okay. At Tennessee Heat, I think they lose.
You give a lot of faith to the Tennessee Heat every year. Man. I'm telling you, maybe like Heat bias or something on that side there. 6-1.
And then at Riverside Christian to close out the year, I think it's a loss.
6-2.
Mhm.
What do you think, man? Matt, what are you thinking?
I'm gonna go 4-4.
4-4. You think they're just an even 500 this year?
500,
Huh?
yeah.
At least they get a W, their first W since the MTAC Championship 2017 under both of your predictions. So they've at least got something going there.
Did you say 6-2?
It was 6-2 is
6-2,
what you predicted. He said 4-4.
I got 4-4.
Yep.
So now the team that they're only playing looks like the bare minimum of games that they have to do against all the teams in the North. The Sacred Heart of Jesus High School
We're
Knights.
still waiting to find out the complete schedule. But
as-
anyway, so at South Haven Christian loss, at Tennessee Heat loss, at Christian Community loss, at Lighthouse or versus Lighthouse loss, and then
2
on
weeks of
October
bye.
4th. Yeah, as of right now, it looks like they have 2 weeks of bye,
Mhm.
and then they play at Bowling Green Christian. I've got them picking up the win.
So 1-4. They've only got those 5 games against the other teams in the North.
Jeez.
Did you guys play Sacred?
No, hang on.
Did you guys play
hang on.
Sacred Heart last
Hang on, I
Yeah.
misspoke somewhere. No,
year?
Sacred
It's
Heart.
1-4. Yeah, you
There
said
should be
you
6
have 1-4.
games if there's 2 buys.
Well, there should be, but the only games that they're playing are against those in the North, which are 5 teams.
Okay.
I
So
literally
that's
just confused myself.
They're one,
He's
you
having a
predicted
blonde
1-4.
moment.
It's yes, very much.
I said Lighthouse would beat Sacred Heart,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, you said that every team would beat Sacred Heart except for.
Okay, then I'm
their
going to
final
back
game.
up. Bowling Green Christian is going to lose to Sacred Heart.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Okay.
Again, 1-4. You said
I wrote
Bowling
it
Green
down
was
wrong.
Okay,
I wrote it down wrong.
1-4. You think that's about accurate, Matt? 1-4.
That's kind of hard to predict because there's not enough games, you know.
But you played Sacred Heart last year,
Okay.
right?
I'll do 2-2.
2-2.
Yeah, I'll go even with that one too.
Well, they
Maybe
play 5 games, so.
Oh wait,
Yeah,
all right, 2 and
they-
3.
2-1.
One of the games they just call off.
With
There's
it
too
coming
much
down to a
rain.
coin
and all
toss.
that.
Yeah, my fault. I was like, I had a
Coin
ball
toss
moment right
games
there.
count as
Oh yeah,
Coin toss games.
they count as
It's like,
tiebreakers.
it's like in hockey in overtime or shootout loss. It just goes in the the third category.
Oh yeah, they just count
You
those.
pick up
as
a
last.
point for it, and that's it.
And the last team in the MTAC North, the Tennessee Heat. I have a feeling. I know what prediction is going to come from this because James does it every year. Always gives them a positive record. And last year was the first time they got into the playoffs since like
But
like
they did get in the
2000, like,
playoffs.
They got in by virtue of a team.
Lighthouse not being eligible.
Yeah.
We know. Okay.
They got by virtue of that. So, and that was the first time for them to get into the playoffs since what was it, 2009, 2010 or something.
8.
So it was over
2008.
11. It
8
was
or 9.
10
no,
years.
it was 9.
Okay, so about 9 years since they got in, something like that.
Hang on, I'm doing some math. I'm thinking about the old MTAC, like the original MTAC. No, I think it was 2011. 2011 was the last time we got in the playoffs.
So yeah, it was 7 years.
Because at that point it was
We
So,
need to ask our history guy.
back when they had Mr. Josh Bates.
Long
so,
time ago. So
Anyways,
I know what's probably going to happen from this. What's your positive record prediction
okay.
for the Heat
So
this year?
they kick off the season with Lancaster. I think they lose.
Okay.
They travel to Alabama to play the Freedom Cowboys. I think they pick up the win down there.
Ooh.
At Sacred Heart, they win. At Christian Community, they lose.
Mhm.
Versus Lighthouse, they win.
Mhm.
Versus Classical, they win. They host Riverside, and I think they lose.
4-3.
They host Bowling Green, win. South Haven, a win. At Swanee, I think they pick up a win, and then they close out the season in Knoxville at Tennessee School for the Deaf, and they get a win.
8-3.
The only
You
team
always
this year,
do this.
the only team. It wouldn't sound so crazy if they weren't the only team playing 11 games because they don't take bye weeks.
It would sound less crazy
They
if
are
you
the
made
Iron Men of the league. 11 weeks, 11 games. Here we go.
yeah,
Get in,
but
sit down, buckle
you
up,
still
and
give the
shut up and hang on.
you still give too positive of a prediction on them. You know, I know people say you need to be more positive, but you show too much.
Try
of
to
your
be positive.
Not towards the Heat.
Why?
You do that
you
every
have something
year.
against the Heat?
Nothing personally. It's just that I need to see them win and get a positive season.
Okay,
They
all right.
what was their record last year? Like 5-4?
Hang on, I've got it pulled
I
up.
think
they
they
were
were
like
5-5 even.
Yeah, they were they were
it
even.
was,
It's been a while since
I
they've
think
had a
it's
positive record.
I think it's 5
I
or
just
6.
want to
Well, 5 and 6.
Yeah. I just want to see them have a positive record. I want to see that from
They
them.
were 5 and 5.
Yeah.
5 and 7 if you count playoffs.
Yeah, I just want to see them have a positive record. Right now, is that
That's fine.
I mean, I guess neutral is better than positive, at least
You're,
500.
you're
but
allowed to have what you want.
8-3, is that what you're aligned with, Matt? You
Yep.
have the
No.
big grin on your face that you're disagreeing on that.
I'll go 4 and 7.
Ooh, James, you gonna speak up at anything on
Nah.
that? No, you're
Just let
good.
him have his opinion. That's
You're good.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. All right, now down to the
Make sure you
MTAC
watch the games while you're in
South.
Grayson.
All right, I'll be down there in Grayson, man. Trees.
Grayson.
If I even get signal.
John Buchanan has gone
Do they
back to
have Wi-Fi?
Centennial, and Franklin Christian Academy is. Would you say they're officially in rebuilding mode? I mean, there are a lot of teams that are rebuilding this year because after the span of.
Not until because they still got Daniel Holcomb coming back. They still got Asa Sheets coming back.
Okay, so they
They've
got some players
dudes.
come
They
back.
got some dudes.
Yeah. So Franklin Christian Academy, of course, they lost a big weapon in the backfield in John Buchanan, but let's see if James can spin some positive predictions
All
on
right.
them. This
So
year.
obviously, I mentioned it with South Haven. They're going to pick up the loss first game of the year. They host Swanee. I think they win. They host Bowling Green. I think they win. They go to Lancaster or
It's at
Riverside. They lose. At Lancaster, they lose. They host the Freedom Cowboys. I think they beat the Freedom Cowboys. They host Ezel Harding. I think they lose. And then in the Battle of Franklin, I think they lose.
You think they lose this year in the Battle of Franklin?
I think they
That's
lose this
3
year in
and
the Battle of
5.
Franklin.
What do you think, Matt?
3 and 5.
Yeah, 3 and 5. 3 and 5.
I agree. I like the 3 and 5.
They could pick up a win. They could pick up a win in a game in there. I mean,
Maybe.
if there's
It'll be a battle.
Okay. Let's see. South Haven could be a top. They could win the South Haven game. The classical game they could win. The classical game could go either way.
Yeah,
Well,
every
that's a
Battle of
battle
Franklin
right
could go
there.
either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a toss up really. I'm picking FCA.
you
Or
picked
I'm picking
FCS.
classical
Yeah,
rather.
you picked classical.
Because they have the best player in the league. But if he gets hurt, it could go the complete opposite way.
Yeah, again, these are predictions prior to the Jamboree
12
before you actually see them.
days before the Jamboree.
Mhm. And you're going to stick with them
Way
throughout the
too
season,
early
right?
prediction. I'm sticking with him.
Yeah, he'll stick with them.
Sticking with him.
He may have. I think last
No
year.
reason not to.
Yeah, last year he changed his
If I'm
prediction
gonna
maybe
get on-
once or twice.
If I'm gonna get on a public forum like this and make this, I gotta stick with my guns.
You changed your guns twice throughout the regular season last
Listen.
year, though.
Okay.
I'm just saying you did.
I did. There were special circumstances. Okay.
Even though for the first 6 weeks you said, I'm not changing my predictions, not changing them, I'm sticking with what I said in the preseason.
Yeah.
And then it got to week 7. It's like,
I changed 2
well-
games out of like the 65 that happened.
yeah,
Yeah.
you did. That's true.
Yeah.
But you changed it. You changed it on separate occasions. But anyway,
Anyway.
so now we head to the other Franklin-based team, who you say is the best player in the league,
They
Josh
have the best
Austin.
player in the
The
league.
Franklin Classical School can't under the same coach that gave them 3 straight MTAC football championships.
Coach Dubs.
Coach Seth Witherington, or Coach Dubs as he's better known. Are they going to give them a championship? Because it's tied right now for the most MTAC championships. The Christian community won it.
So
3 to Classical, 3 to 3 to Classical, 3 to Christian community.
Yep.
And I believe
but may I say
technically
that
FCA
Dubs,
has 2.
But let's preface this. Now, 3 championships is nothing to blink at. But in those days, there were like 4 or 5 teams in the MTAC, maybe 6.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot smaller road to get to the championship.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, they played teams outside of MTAC, teams from Alabama, Kentucky, whatever.
Right.
A lot smaller road. It's a lot harder to get there now with 12 teams in the league, 11 teams in the league. A lot better players now coming to these 8-man teams.
Right.
You know, back in the day, it was literally if you went to the school or you were homeschooled. Now, some of these schools have some of the pull to say, hey, you know what? You're going to be the 3rd string running back on this, public school team. Why don't you come over here? Why don't you get a good Christian education, and you'll actually get some playing time.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot different situation between the two of
But
them.
Classical, is Dubs going to bring him a championship this season? Or more so, do you think they have the opportunity to claim that championship by getting in the playoffs?
Let's look at it.
Yep.
So they kick off the season with Bowling Green Christian. I think it's a win. At Riverside, they lose. At Ezel Harding, they lose. Versus the Tennessee Heat, they lose. At Christian Community, they lose. Versus Lancaster, they lose. I think they beat Sewanee, and then they win the Battle of Franklin at the end of the year.
3-5.
3-5.
So that would put them third seed.
Tied for fourth.
Yeah, there's third or fourth, something like that.
Tied for fourth, technically. Depending on how, of course. I didn't write down like how they would actually do in division.
Mm-hmm.
But
3-5. You've faced off against Josh Austin. You think 3-5? He's going to be able to help carry that team.
3-5.
Yeah.
Think?
You think 3-5 is accurate, or think?
Yeah, I like 3-5. That's a good. Prediction.
They could pick up the win against the Heat.
Yeah.
You're hesitating there. Is something we need to know?
Yeah. 4-4, man.
4-4.
I'll do 4-4.
All right.
Because you said that.
All right.
All right. Well, we'll get to the part where Matt's going to be smiling. Lancaster Christian Academy is alma mater. The Knights, in their second year in 8-man football ever, trying to make it back to the playoffs, and no consolation game for them to be sent to this year. The potential to get to the MTAC championship with the 16 playoffs. So
you lose, you done.
Yep, you lose, you're done. So Lancaster.
That was a lot grammatically correct way of saying it. You lose, you done.
Lancaster Christian Academy and the Knights. Where do they fall on your predictions?
All right, they're going to beat the Heat.
It's 1-0.
Literally. They're going to beat Lighthouse Christian.
2-0.
They're going to beat Christian Community.
3-0.
They're going to beat Sewanee.
4-0.
Bowling Green.
5.
Franklin Christian.
6.
And Franklin Classical.
7.
They're going to lose to Riverside.
7-1.
And then they're going to beat Ezel Harding.
8-1. That's where Matt was about to jump out of his seat. Riverside. So let me guess. You're saying 9-0 this season for
Yeah,
them.
I'm going to go 9-0.
You think 9-0?
Yeah, I'm going to have to ride
What
with
makes
my
you think
boys.
they'll
That's
beat
family.
Riverside, according to James' thing?
I don't know. It's just Riverside's a lot smaller this year. I'm assuming. I'm just guessing. I mean, I think they're.
They only
Riverside
lost
is
one
smaller?
senior.
I know,
They only
but
lost Trahan.
still, I think we'll pick up
8-1?
the dub.
Man, I was off a little. I wrote down 7-1.
It's 9-0 for Lancaster, according to Matt, and we head to the team that he thinks will not be able to win against his alma mater, Riverside Christian Academy. They've got their head coach Travis Creasy back in full swing after fully recovering from leukemia. He's in relapse right now, but at least being done with chemotherapy and such.
Relapse. Relapse means you're going back.
I'm pretty sure.
No,
he's going
relapse means you're going back into cancer.
Okay,
Recovery.
What is the program? So isn't he going back to like
Kicking
regular
its butt
checkup?
is what it's called right now.
I thought he was going through like regular checkups or something to make
That's
sure.
not a
I'm
relapse.
trying to remember what the term was for it. Yeah, but yeah, Creasy's ready. Creasy ready to go. So Travis Creasy ready to try and lead
Mr.
his
My Dad's a
team to the
doctor.
playoffs. I don't know. He didn't pass that much medical knowledge on to me.
Uh-huh.
But
All right.
where do you see the Knights of
Riverside.
Fayetteville falling?
They're gonna give Ezel Harding their first 8-man win. They're both of their first games. They're gonna beat Classical and Sewanee. They're gonna host the Freedom Cowboys and win. They're gonna beat Franklin Christian. They're gonna beat the Heat. They're gonna beat Lancaster, and they're gonna beat South Haven.
7-1. You like those
don't
odds
like-
there?
I don't like it. I'm gonna go even again with them.
All right.
4-4.
Thinking 4-4.
Gonna go Dutch.
Yeah. We'll go even.
Next, we head back to out to Swanee for the St. Andrews Swanee Mountain Lions.
While we're on the topic of Sewanee, let me mention this because I told him
boy.
I'd mention this. Coach John Hargis, everybody loves him except for a couple coaches, and even then they still like him. His nephew was in ICU a couple weeks ago. I texted him again today, just kind of check up on him. Nephew being transferred to Atlanta to Shepherd's Hospital to get checked on. I don't know exactly what's going on, but y'all keep Coach and his family in your prayers.
Of course.
For sure.
So the Mountain Lions, I believe they had one win last year.
Keep them
Was
in your
it?
prayers too once you hear these predictions.
Yep, of course. Did they? Didn't they have like? Wasn't it one win last year for Swanee, or
No,
did
they had 2 or 3. I literally just went through the records, Spencer. God, let me go back. Hang on.
But the Mountain Lions.
They were 2-6 last year.
Mountain Lions got 2 wins. They're trying to go for 3 after 2017. They were 7-1, and now the Mountain Lions trying to get back to the playoffs and
So Swanee.
for the first time, bring back a trophy to the mountain.
Of course, they don't start until the third week of August because of the way the school works out. So they go to Franklin Christian, and I think they're going to lose. Host Riverside, they lose. At Lancaster, they lose. Versus Ezel Harding, they lose. I think they beat Lighthouse Christian, and then lose to Franklin Classical and lose to the Heat.
1-6.
Yep. I think they're going to
What
struggle.
do you think, Matt?
I like it because they lost a big key factor on the team, Jalen.
Oh yeah, Jalen Tillman. Jalen
Who's
Tillman.
going to Randolph-Macon College? Huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
He's gonna
I was
play
trying to.
ball.
I hit him up to work out with him, but he's down there and up north. So
He's in Maryland.
yeah,
He's from Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a pretty chill dude. I like him. So
He's pretty laid back.
yeah,
1-6 for the Mountain Lions, according to James. So next, the newest team in 8-man football, the Ezel Harding Christian School Eagles.
All right.
They try going down from numbers, and they're trying to make a stamp and make a big impact on MTAC this season. So for Ezel, we talked about it off the show a lot, but just to set the record in stone, unless he changes it throughout the season, what's your record for Ezel Harding?
They are going to beat Riverside Christian, their first ever 8-man game. They're going to beat Franklin Classical. They're taking a trip down to Alabaster, Alabama to take on Evangel Christian, who is the defending NHSA national champions, beat CCS last year after the All-Star game.
Yep.
And I think they lose. They're going to play at Swanee. I think they win. I think they're going to beat Lighthouse Christian. I think they beat Christian Community. And I think they beat Franklin Christian. And then they end the season losing to Lancaster.
6-2. What do you think?
I'll do 5-3.
5-3.
I got him losing against Christian Community.
Okay.
So
The defending
and
MTAC
that's
champions.
fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, in the
They
words of
could
James,
lose-
James, that's a toss-up.
That's a toss-up. They could lose to Riverside.
man,
No, I'm talking about the Christian community game specifically. I mean,
It is a toss-up.
I mean,
but
granted, you could technically say all the games are a toss-up.
most of them, yeah.
You could say most of them are
Most
the
of them.
toss-ups.
Lighthouse game is the Battle of Antioch, basically.
Yeah, Battle of the Bell.
Battle of Bell,
Yeah.
Bell Road.
Yeah,
There you go.
this is the rivalry that isn't officially a rivalry, but we're
But
making
it's-
it a
yeah,
rivalry
there
because
you
of the
go.
hype. It's going to
Because of me.
become that. So it's going to be interesting to see how they perform in their first.
I know this
football
is the
season.
way that like the league just happens to pan out and like geographically. But how crazy is it that just because you go north on Bell Road just a little bit, Lighthouse is in the north and the Easels in the south, but they're on the same road, off the same exit.
Well, I mean, the same way the league pans out, Sacred Heart's in the north, but they're all the way out towards Jackson.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So now the final school to give predictions for that is not in the Middle Tennessee Athletic Conference, but is playing two teams from MTAC. The Tennessee
Did we
School
go through the whole South?
Yeah, that's all of them.
Did we go over CCS?
Yeah,
we
we
already
went
did.
over the
Oh,
north
alright.
and south and them all.
Dang.
Tennessee School for the Deaf.
Yep, the Tennessee School for the Deaf Vikings. They got a lot of games canceled last year due to the storms that
A
overlapped
couple
from the
games in
hurricane.
South Carolina, but
No, they had a
they
few
actually spread.
games.
They got a really cool schedule this year.
They start the latest of any of the teams. They start 5 weeks. They don't start till
Last week
September.
of no, it's the
Jeez.
last week of August.
No,
It's like
September
2
6th. Unless they picked up a game on August 30th, because I've got on here it says a bye week.
Oh, well then they must have changed it.
But September 6th is when they start
check Max
first,
Preps.
and that's their game at South. Yeah, James will check Max Preps real quick. But at least what I've got 5 weeks of bye week, just because that's how their school starts.
Man, that's extra practice. man.
Yeah.
That's extra practice. I like it.
I don't think they actually start their school days until, is it like the week of August 23rd is when they start?
It's late into the yeah.
No, but you can still do
Like a-
summer practices, right?
They could be. I think.
Well,
isn't
the
it a
problem
boarding
with them
school?
is it's a boarding school.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
And so and like that's the reason most of their games are on Thursday night is because they go Monday through Thursday for school and then let the kids off Friday. And if they have like a big game or a big homecoming game on Saturday, then the kids will stay over to Saturday.
Okay.
But that's just the way that their school schedule works, and so they just have to work with it.
All right.
Because they have kids coming from like Memphis to Knoxville, so
Yep.
Oh, that's crazy.
like they cover the entire state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
pretty cool.
that's why they have their games on Thursday night against South Haven and the Tennessee Heat, because that's the last
Yeah,
thing.
well,
And they
I got
travel
that
back.
game wrong.
Yep.
Did I put it down right for South Haven?
South Haven is on September 6th. I believe they
yeah,
changed
but
that.
I'm looking at my notes to make sure I put it right. Yeah, I put it down right.
Telling
on
you,
there.
man, the organization here.
I have great
The
organization. man.
stellar
Spence.
organization.
Spence.
Stellar.
All right, so
All right, so
South Haven Christian. I said South Haven will pick up the win.
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina School for the Deaf and Blind, I'm going to give them the win. They go to Alabama, and they play Alabama School for the Deaf, who typically is an 11-man team. They're going to play an 8-man game against them. I think they pick up the loss. They host Mississippi School for the Deaf. That's a huge rivalry game.
Oh, yeah.
That was actually our first game
Called that
together.
2016.
Yeah, 2 years ago. Same glorious day that Tennessee beat Georgia.
It's about 3 years ago at this point, actually. 2016.
Was it 2016?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Anyways, so they host Mississippi School for the Deaf. Oh, that's right, because they got their season canceled a couple years ago.
Yep.
Yeah. They go to South Carolina School for the Deaf. I think they pick up the win. They host Florida School for the Deaf. I'm going to give them the win on that one. And then they host the Tennessee Heat, and I think the Heat pick up the win.
So for the Mississippi School for the Deaf, was that a win or a loss? September 27th. Because I've got 3-3 right now.
Is it
I think that's the one I missed.
28th. That's 28th.
28th. Saturday.
Hang on. Loss, win, loss, win, 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 loss. Okay, so 4-2.
I got 4-3.
Well, they only play 6 games, Spence. It's
4-2. 4-2.
4-2.
So 4-2. I'm not sure how much you know about the Tennessee School for the Deaf and such.
No,
but
you're right. It is. No, it's 3-3.
4-3.
4-3. Yeah.
See,
4-3.
I like it.
Your math is better.
Yep. So those are the predictions.
I think you should enjoy watching Tennessee School for the Deaf game.
You should go back and watch one of ours when we did last year. Was them against the Heat. Go back and watch that broadcast.
I think I seen them like beat a team 60 to something.
It's crazy. Some of their games are crazy.
Yeah.
They high scored it. Nothing. I don't know if it'll be a long time before we see a high scoring game in MTAC. Even though last year we had the highest scoring game in a long time between Franklin Christian and Bowling Green.
That one was insane. Did you ever watch that one?
No.
78-50 final score on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a high scoring one.
You want to talk about too many commercial breaks?
Yeah.
There's a lot of commercial breaks in that game.
Oh,
yeah. Man.
Yeah, that was a long game.
A lot of highlights.
Long game there.
Great way to kick off the season, though.
Oh yeah, that was our first kickoff. That was
the first game.
Yeah, that was the first game. That was the week of August 1st.
First game.
Jeez.
On a Saturday.
I would be sad if I got beat by like 72 points.
They only got beat by like 28 points. Like
it was. Yeah, it was
points.
78 to 50.
They still
78 points.
Yeah, imagine
in a high school game.
Imagine scoring 50 points and you still lost by 28. I'd say that's a high school basketball score, but there's high schools that can't score 50.
True.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So those are all the predictions.
I'm sure you played some of them in the what's that called?
I don't know.
The little one.
I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about with Dayspring and West and all that.
Yeah. Our basketball team actually
They
did really good.
They do a basketball all-star game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Our basketball team did really good last year, so.
Well, look at you were playing.
You guys know if you guys are moving your sports to MTAC or not?
I don't know.
No clue at this point.
Surely they are.
Yeah. You would think at this point.
Baseball's already over there.
Yeah, baseball's been in MTAC
Football's
for a
over
while.
there. Baseball's
Football
over there.
moved over.
Soccer.
I don't know.
Might be.
I don't know. No, I think soccer's still that little league.
Yeah, they're still in that other one. But maybe
we
we'll see.
don't even know the name. I don't think their website really has anything.
Yeah.
It's like the.
Well, to be fair, MTAC's
this isn't the
website
league that had them and Sacred Heart and Memphis Nighthawks and Maker Road in it.
Oh, it's not the same one.
It's a different one. I don't even remember.
It's one of those other.
Look who shut up.
I
told you I would get him in here. Yeah.
Is he here?
He said he was going to stop by. He said he was going to stop by for a second.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
What's
of course.
up?
We got. Yeah, Isaiah Austin just walked in studio, everybody.
Studs and all.
Yeah. He walked in.
Oh, yeah. Got the
perfect
short
timing.
shorts
We
on,
just
man.
finished all the predictions.
Yeah.
If we had a fourth
finished all
headset,
the
I'd put on him.
Just finished all the predictions.
Yeah.
You should have grabbed one of those mics.
I didn't know he was actually going to show up.
Well, you could have plugged it in. Anyways.
Yeah, I could have. I thought it was just going to be 3 people.
So, anyways, there's your super controversial predictions.
Yeah. Here,
just to recap for Isaiah.
Let me just say no.
Did you hear some of it?
Yeah, Isaiah. Let me just say he thinks South Haven is going to be Christian Community this year.
And he also said RCA is going to be LCA. He said RCA is going to be LCA.
I've got classical 3 and 5.
Right.
Okay.
Of course.
Christian 3 and 5. Franklin Christian.
Oh yeah.
Swanee 1 and 6. Lancaster 8 and 1. CCS 6 and 3. I pointed out of 12 teams last year, on 10 of them, I was within 1 or 2 games of their actual record.
I don't remember what your predictions were, if you even remember.
Not as good as mine.
That was
yeah.
you that said we were gonna do horrible.
Yeah.
I was attacking him earlier.
That was him, because remember, I picked Lancaster 7-1. They went 7-1. The only one I got spot on.
I got Ezel Harding winning it out now after last year.
Oh no.
Yeah, you're thinking Zell Harding's going to win it out. He's saying, I think, was it 4-4? I think you said for Zell.
No,
4
I
and
said
4.
Zell was 6-2.
Yeah.
6-2.
He said 4-4.
Okay, yeah, he said 4-4 for Zell.
I said 6-2.
6-2. He kept it. It's going to be interesting to see how all the teams pan out, especially because again, your predictions are 12 days before the Jamboree.
Yeah.
So,
Early
he's
predictions.
doing the same thing as last
Everybody
year.
picking them the week of the game.
I
and
said
I'm
LCA goes undefeated.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible.
They got to play CCS, Riverside, and Ezel.
Why do you keep saying Riverside? Come on now. Stop hyping them up. Let's go. Let's get to the game. I'll put money on it.
Nah, because I'd hate to see you sweat in church.
I don't sweat in church. I pray in church.
Oh gosh. Well, that's what we got for James's predictions, man.
Isaiah, I said I'm so big that I sweat like a professional gambler in church.
Wait, a what?
A professional gambler in church.
It's crazy. But yeah, those are James's bringing that back from last year.
It's crazy.
Yes. Yes. Good
Crazy.
times. Good times. Anything you want to preview before we get into the pre-Jamboree show, James? Anything? Any of the topics?
Supposed to?
No, I don't think so. Other than shameless self-promotion.
Extreme talk
Yeah. When's the first episode coming out for that?
when I feel like it.
Yeah, that's great.
At
That's
the end
great.
of the football season.
Probably at the
Oh yeah, at the end of the
probably
football
second
season.
week of August.
Second week of August.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Not too bad.
Once life slows down.
Of course,
Yeah.
when I'm gone.
Once things actually kick on and such.
You still have social media. You can still plug it.
Yeah.
Plug it to all your buddies.
Yeah.
There.
Oh
I'll be like, I'm famous.
yeah.
Do it. Alright, we'll take the
I made it.
We'll
I
take
made
the
it.
hey, we'll take the subs.
You
look
like you need subs.
Need or eat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nothing like that cold cut on Italian urban cheese.
Get some cold cuts.
Do you at least toast it? Please.
Yeah,
somebody
I always
it.
toast
If
my
not if
sandwiches.
it's like 90 degrees outside.
I
always
toast
toast
it
them.
every time.
Yeah, same here.
Any sandwich.
Yeah.
How do you not toast your sandwiches? Come on now.
Because you don't make a turkey and cheese sandwich at home and then toast it.
You can. I might be better.
But
Yeah,
you don't,
can
but
toast
you
it.
don't do it. You
Hey,
do it?
Isaiah's saying he does, yeah.
Panini man.
What's wrong with paninis?
Yeah, paninis are
What's
good.
wrong with those?
Anyways.
There's nothing wrong with those. Yeah, I'd
He's
get
getting
my.
attacked right now.
Oh yeah. Hey, I toast my
I'm just
sandwiches
sitting
every
back.
time. I
Alright,
don't have a
yes.
dog in this.
Okay.
I don't have a dog in this fight. I toast my sandwiches every time, regardless of where I have them from. It's always how it is. Unless I do. I've been
Show
getting
hands, who
into
cares?
spinach wraps lately from Which.
Show of hands, who cares?
Your hands are up, so.
What's
My
what's a
hands
BLT?
draped over my head.
Yeah, your hands are up, so. Show of hands. There's 2.
Speaking of good food,
Yeah.
our new
Chicago's.
sponsor, Jets.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever had the BLT pizza?
No.
It has bacon. Last time I had it, it was like a flatbread pizza, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm typically not a flatbread pizza guy. I like all the carbs.
My go-to is deep dish with Jets every time.
We're not talking about your go-to. Listen. Hear me out. Okay? So it's like a flatbread with bacon baked into the bread
Uh-huh.
with bacon on
Ooh.
top. And then it's got lettuce and tomato, and it's got like almost like a ranch mayonnaise kind of. It's not like regular marinara sauce. Like
It's
it's
like
a
a
sauce
creamy
that would,
ranch?
right? That would go with a BLT.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty good.
My go-to is always just a deep dish
Go check it
pepperoni.
out.
Deep dish pepperoni is the go-to for Jets pizza.
Yeah,
That's
we
what
could-
won
we
them the
could tell.
Sizzle Awards.
We can tell.
Hey, we can tell what you eat as well, man.
I mean, we'll tell what
I
can
like
eat since I was
Chicago's.
10.
What was that?
This place in Smyrna, it's called Chicago's.
You
It's real good.
Chicago's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should try
There's
it out
also
one
here in
time.
Franklin. There's Brooklyn Brothers is pretty good if you like a New York
Still
pizza.
can't beat
Except they-
CC's and Little Caesars.
There's no CC's here in Franklin. Otherwise,
I
I'd be.
mean, I got
I'd
Pizza
be
Hut in
more-
the studio right now. I don't know why y'all talking.
Old.
Yeah.
Old. You just
Old.
you just ate the spinach
But
pizza.
no, that BLT pizza from our sponsor. Bless you. That's why we need a cough button.
He brings a valid point to me on that one.
Yeah, I've been trying to get a cough button.
Yeah. But
Anyways.
yeah.
Breaks will be better coming soon.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's what you were
2019, it's
talking to
my
us about
idea.
the
Mr.
show
Matt
was
Buck
that the
trying to help
the
out with our
commercials.
breaks.
We need to do something better about
Listen,
those. He's
You
right.
gotta take a break every now and then.
Yeah.
You gotta take a break.
Yeah.
But you can't just throw up a black screen. You know how
With
boring that is.
sponsors on it.
You don't need
It's
a.
not supposed to be exciting during commercial breaks.
Okay.
Play the
Bruh,
music
honestly,
video.
Bird.
honestly, like slap some music in there. Honestly,
Bird.
Play the
some,
more annoying
some
horses in the
instrumentals
back
or something.
before I play
Play
a little
Check Your
bird.
Heart. Play
'Cause
Check
it's
Your Heart by
boring.
John Chris.
Because like you just throw the sponsors up and then you like you'll just quiet.
I would rather before
So
playing any
that's
little
like a
bird
chance
music
to go to the
videos, I'd put up
bathroom,
horses
go
in the
get a
back
drink.
before I
Yeah,
do
throw
any of
some
that.
music on there. 2 minutes.
Yeah, but then you'll want to stick around for the commercial break. You won't have time to go to the restroom, get you a drink,
Right.
That's why you take your phone
grab
or
you a
whatever.
slice of Jets pizza.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you just take your phone to the
J-E-T-S.
bathroom or something.
Let's get Jets.
You like.
Talk about product placement here, man.
Anyways,
Yeah,
all
of
right.
course.
Well,
I think that basically wraps up the show,
that does
James.
it.
Heck
Yeah, we got our
the
game
stud,
predictions out of the
legend,
way.
Matthew
Pre-Jamboree
Bowden.
show
Well, that's next week.
next week. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Next week, pre-Jamboree show, we'll maybe give some predictions of that, give a little previews of what we've seen from the teams. Hopefully, we may have the helmet schedule up by then.
And
Right.
Matthew might be here.
Matthew might be here.
Maybe.
Pretty cool if he
Maybe.
shows up again.
2-week intern stunt.
Oh, yeah. Just a
Just
little
2
intern
weeks.
stunt for 2 weeks.
That's why,
Yeah.
why we need
Yeah.
a cough button.
Thanks for
I just
coming in,
burped.
man. We appreciate you coming on the show, man.
Yeah.
helping us with
Getting
predictions
Isaiah in
and
here.
such. Yeah, you actually got Isaiah in
We
here.
actually did not put him up to that.
Yeah, we didn't.
That
No,
was all
he
him.
he bet it, like he bet me. He was like, "I bet you can't get in here."
No,
Get him-
I
get him in here.
didn't.
I was trying to come. My mom got in town, and then she left, and I came.
Gotcha.
Okay,
All
that's
right.
what's
All
up.
right.
Well, that's going to wrap up this week's episode of Extreme Radio. Next week, we got pre-Jamboree predictions. Just a reminder to you all that Extreme Radio is presented by GracePointe Healthcare. Go to GracePointeHealthcare.com. Request your appointment online. If you mention you're with 8-Man Extreme, you get $20 off your new patient office visit fee. GracePointe Healthcare, modern medicine the old-fashioned way. I can see James starting to take his headset off now.
headset's still on my
He's
head.
starting to get prepared. It's also sponsored by Dr. Sterling Foster for all your digestive issues and chiropractic needs. Go to drsterlingfoster.com.
It's also sponsored
Uh-huh.
by Jets Pizza, specifically Springfield, Fort Campbell, Clarksville. But if you're at any Jets location, go hit them up. Get your BLT pizza.
You going to say the slogan?
Come
you gonna
on,
say the
it.
slogan?
You gonna
were,
say the slogan?
You were the one who's big.
JETS. Let's get Jets.
There you go. There you go. That'll wrap it up for this week for James Shannon and Matthew Bowden, as
Yeah.
it's properly pronounced.
Yeah.
I'm Spencer
Come on,
Thompson. We'll
James.
see you guys next week as we get closer to the Jamboree. Football is just around the corner.
See ya.